What about you?
Oh, great, I'm fine. Please, just 1 minute now and we'll start. I just want to quickly copy this link. I know. Share. Don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to the former link. Wow. Let me do something. Okay, great. Yeah. Innocent, can you see hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Michael.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Anis, Anis, please come. Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone. Um, it's great to have you here, Innocent. Uh, Thank you so much for taking out time to join this session. It's so enriching and important to us. Thank you so much. For those that are with us online, this is Innocent. So I'm just going to briefly talk about him. This is Innocent Nnaemeka is a senior database developer with over 5 years, over 6 years experience. He has worked with so many companies so far. A consulting, he was an ex SBC, seven other bottling company. Um, he's a veteran in the game. Let me just say, he's a veteran in the game. Uh, yeah. So you are welcome, Innocent. We are glad to have you here. Thank you so much for taking out time to join us on this session. Really appreciate.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
sorry, because of this network, because I'm using a new link now. So I just sent to my people online via mail. So hopefully they can join us. But we'll still continue with the session since it's going to be recorded. So we'll just go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully they will to join us as the session progresses. I hope that's fine. Yeah.
Very good. That's fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, very quickly, I just want to pull out some questions for you, just for people to learn from. Um, so far, I know you've worked in several places. Currently, now with one of the best consulting firm in Nigeria or in the world, same fix. So, in your experience so far with working with department, what's the experience so far with working with database? What can you say are the ups and lows, right? The pros and the cons. Database experience with SBC experience so far. Yeah,
Okay. Um. Yeah. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Michael. Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity, and I mean, it's a great opportunity being able to speak to like minds about database, and so far, have experience across different industry in terms of working with database. So, in working with database, it all depends on number one, the type of database you are using, and one of the most important thing in database is why choosing a database is about compatibility with the application
Mm,
that wants to run on that database. Because
mm,
as we know, database is like the engine house of every software application.
mm,
So if anything is wrong in the database, that means the whole system will be done as well. So
mm,
we also say that database is the powerhouse. So we are looking about in terms of scalability, in terms of
mm,
performance, and also while considering your architecture or setup, we're also looking at what is your level of availability that you
mm,
want this database to be on. That means, are you able to tolerate like a minimum percentage of downtime if there's any issue and
mm,
occurrence? So all these are factors you put in place while making decision on the
mm,
database management system that you choose. So,
mm,
uh, like I said, depending on the type of applications that you are considering on and the level of availability that you want to set up, will determine why your choice of database and the availability setup that you put in place.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Because some people want to know, okay, how does the database even speaks to applications? When I started my career, that was one of the things I struggled with. Okay, is it that if they build an app now, then how is the data? And they say, okay, the data is in the database. How is that app speaking to the database and the rest? And I think that has your answer has really uh, thrown light into that question. So I would like to also ask, what are the challenges you face so far in terms of a lot of clients come with their requests. They say, okay, they need this, they need that. What are the challenges you face in terms of data quality, in terms of how to scale data and the rest? What are the challenges you've faced? Are there particular challenges? Clients, or let me say stakeholders, can be funny at times with a lot of requests. Do this, let me add this, let me add that. What are the kind of challenges?
Okay.
Just share. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Should I go with the first one you asked about? How does application interact with the database?
Exactly. We just this is yes, just because a lot
Okay.
of people will be listening. I can't see your face. I think is it network.
Well, but can you see me now?
Yeah, it's just static.
Okay. Is it clear?
Maybe it's clear, but it's static. It's not moving. Your face is just up. It's
I
not.
don't know.
Maybe it's my network. Yeah, just go ahead. Hello.
Okay, I don't know. Can you confirm now?
It's still the same thing. Your head is just facing up, but you can see. Am I moving? You can see me moving, right?
Yeah, yeah. I can see you very well. I don't know.
Uh,
I can see you very well. So
yes, it's not moving. But we can
okay,
go ahead. I think we just make do with the voice.
okay,
Maybe it's the
okay.
network.
So yeah.
Mm.
So I believe our audience understand what we call about a back end and front end in terms of application development.
No,
So
we want you to split everything. We want you to
yeah,
expatiate on.
so that is what I'm trying to say now. So back end. So we are talking about back end. So back end consists of database and the API development. So
Mm,
API integration is actually what speaks to the database. So
mm,
how does this happen is that in the front end, that is what the user use to interact
mm,
with the application. So a user makes a request. It might be okay, probably you want to fill out your details, the website to submit your information, maybe like your name, date of birth, your other details as well. So immediately you fill those information in that form and you click submit. So what you actually do is that you're making an API call, and
mm,
once you do that API call,
mm,
probably underneath it there are endpoints also. So that
mm,
endpoint is what I send a payload into the database, and
mm,
your request. So from that perspective, you as the API might doing what we call a CRUD operation. It can be
mm,
either create, uh, update statements or
mm,
delete statements, as the case may be. So
mm,
a create means that okay, so is actually sending a create request. That means it's trying to create your information into
mm,
the database. And before then, that means that what an application user has been created. So that application user is what API used to communicate with the database. So there must be a
mm.
communication between API
Thank you,
and
Alice, for joining. Thank you, Mary. Sorry, you
yeah.
can play ahead. I'm just trying to. Yeah.
There must be a communication between the API and the database. And
Mm,
we also talk about network. So network between the network layer. So there must be some permissible connection between the application and also
mm,
the application connection to the database as well, because
mm,
the database as well also takes sense art response to the application as well. So it's what we call the application wants to get list of maybe users, or it wants to get information about list of countries, depending on what you are doing. So you are sending that request like, okay, I want you to read a particular information from me, which
mm,
the database language and database used to communicate. We call it what SQL, which is a structured query language. You are
mm,
doing a select in this case, and you want to send in that request. So the database will send the response back to the API. So there's a communication between an API integration and database. So
mm.
that's one part. So in terms of data quality, so if before we talk about challenges we face in terms of data quality, now it depends on the design of the database. How well do you design a database? So there are checks will be in place. One on the application layer.
Sorry. Let me just quickly come in just to make the point clear to those that just joined us now. Please, you can drop your questions in the comment section. You know, just to reiterate what you just said now. If please keep me honest here, innocent. What you just explained now is that now how an application interacts with a database. So you are saying that it interacts using by the means of APIs, right? And APIs, I think, is application program interface, whereby you are saying the app application itself sends signals to the API, and then the API transfers that signals to the database, and then returns that information back to the application, and then vice versa. Am I correct, please?
Yeah, that is correct, sir. Like, you're
Yeah.
correct, yeah, Michael.
Okay.
Thank you for that simplicity.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
so in terms of data quality, so before look at what are the challenges you can face in terms of data quality and all that.
Mm.
So before, so it all depends on the design. One is that one.
No, oh, sorry,
So
sorry, please to cut in. So no, I want you to, I want you to first of all help us. What are your own personal challenges so that people can learn? What in your over 5 years experience as a database developer, right? What are your challenges that you face in terms of database, right? Maybe the requests people come with. Sometimes maybe people will say, stakeholders now they always want more, they always want quality, but sometimes the data is not giving that quality. What are the challenges? Just so that people are, yeah, so that before you now delve into the
okay,
quality and the rest, what is needed for people that are interested in database and how it works with AI. Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay. In terms of data quality, the challenges I've faced over the years is okay, users entering the wrong data in a
Mm,
particular field.
mm,
So, but before I dive deep into this, so it's one of the challenges we face. There are actually uh, processes we put in place to
mm,
ensure check
mm,
within the database that ensure that the right data are entered
mm, mm,
into a particular field
mm,
of the table. So you know that most of the database we use in our application development is called RDBMS, which is called Relational Database Management System. And one
correct.
of the things that they gave that concept of relation is the fact that these data are stored they are stored what across tables. So just
Mm,
like picture it like the way you have your table, your columns and rows. This is the way
mm,
what the way data are stored in database. So it's a logical structure. So you don't need to just understand the way it is being stored, but just picture it like in form of your table, your rows and columns.
mm, mm,
So there are checks we put in place that ensure that personally that okay, we are able to control data integrity, data consistency within the database. One is that so there's what we call data types in the database.
mm,
So
mm,
once we define a particular data type for a column in a table, it means that what you cannot enter a different data type into that column. That is one thing that ensures data quality. For
mm,
instance, like if I am expecting a number in a column, let's say let's say a column that holds maybe employee numbers, for instance now, and you're expecting that okay, like for you to enter, so someone will not just come and enter like employee name into that column. So you
mm,
get so these are checked. One, another thing is ensuring that so there's also what we call constraints. So this constraint helps us to be able to ensure that some data integrity are maintained within data. One is what we're ensuring that okay, that for a column that does not allow a no value, you don't enter no values into it. And
mm, mm,
other things was there's also called check constraints as well as so to ensure that okay, if you're entering between for a particular column, say like for instance, like say a salary column, we can say that okay, we don't expect a salary more than this range into this table.
mm,
So also at the application layer as well, there are
mm,
also some checks that happens within that area that
mm,
ensure that the data being passed into the database is the right data.
mm,
So
mm,
now, aside this, now even when these checks are put in place, there are times whereby you might not be getting the right data you're expecting. Maybe
mm,
people not trying to enter those data correctly. So in that case, you might see that a situation whereby like in terms of your the the casing of the letters might be different, something like that. So if you're having kind of that kind of a scenario, you see that. So there are some ways whereby you now come as a database administrator, you start ensuring that what this data is what is uniform across a particular what column or so. And one of the issues we face again that in terms of data quality has to do with performance. You see. So
Sorry,
there's no
before you go to performance, please, guys, as you are joining in, please you can just drop your question. We are talking about if you are just joining us, this is Innocent. He's a senior database developer, a vast experienced individual with a lot of years of experience. He's an ex-SVC. He has worked with eTransat and a lot and other big firms around the country. So, and I just Innocent, just to add to your point, the reason why I even asked that question is currently at from my experience, let me just put it that way so that a bit kind of diplomatic. I've discovered that. So let me just play out a scenario. There was a scenario where I wanted to pull data from a database, and you won't believe a lot of blank rows, a lot of no, just like you said now that data quality, no, you shouldn't. There are constraints and the rest. A lot of blanks. The database is just in a state of dismal peace. Let me put it that way. So I was now asking. Now, what happened was that project was, I think it was given to a consulting firm. So I was like, how come you will enter an information into a database and there won't be name, there will be nodes, you will be the demographics are just scattered. It's not. I said, how come that is that happened? And I contacted someone in charge. I said, how was this done? So they now said, is that what happened was, so in the application that they built, sales agents can just ignore some fields that maybe it's because maybe when they are under the sun and this and all that, maybe they are stressed or something. And that now brought me back to what you said now, because I said that is because there is no synergy between the database team and the software team, because there should be an handshake, right? They are building something and it's going to the database. How will you? So, like you said, there should be a constraint, not null. That this user must not enter null in the database. But the sales agent, they just have that freedom to enter this, and currently it's creating a lot of issues, in the company. A lot of issues that you have to, when you want to query for. Thank you, Ades here. Thank you, Torore. When you want to query some information in database, it becomes so stressful, because now you cannot get full information, and then stakeholders will come and say, this information is not complete. Maybe it's even that customer that we can't find the name and other demographics that needs attention. Maybe, for example, is one of the high end customers that really does well for the company. Now you can't even find the name, you can't even find the phone number. So that's why I even asked that question. That now, for those that are joining us and they want to venture into, they want to understand now how does the database work. Like Innocent has said, it's very important that there's an handshake between the database developer and the software developer. So anytime you see anything online, maybe a website or an application you download from your Apple Store or iOS, it is very important that there is an handshake between the database developer and the software developers. And that is one of the things that I think happens sometimes, where we have some of these issues that you just mentioned, because he is talking about what are the challenges he has faced. And I think from what he has said now, it cuts across. He himself has faced issues where there are issues with null and not null, which already will create problem for data analysts, data scientists, even for data engineers. And don't forget that we are talking about impact of quality database system on AI here. We are still going there. He's still going to answer that. But I'm just trying to buttress what he said now, that there must be any field you are going through, be it a data analyst, be it a data engineer, be it a data scientist, in your own way, ensure that you communicate well, and then ensure that there is synergy. Don't let I remember one of my experience in the place where I once worked. So I was in charge of collaboration with the software team, and I ensure that every now and then, anything is doing, I will tell you, okay, let's do it this way. This way will be better. Ensure these people are not entering this, and these are some of the problems that we'll face. So if we are saying yes, we have ChatGPT today, we have all this. If there is no quality data, like Innocent has said, there will be an issue. So I think we can take it from there again. I'm just trying to shed more light on what
Uh,
you just said. Thank you
thank
so
you, Mike.
much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mike. Also add to what you just said now. So,
Mm.
in terms of we are not having that proper demographics in terms of the data quality.
Mm. Mm.
So, like what you just said now, like other thing we also do on our own part,
Eh.
based on my years of experience, is that so if this data that we are expecting are probably some known types. So what do I mean by known types? Let's assume that in terms of like products.
Mm.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
But you know that these are the list of products we have within a particular company or organization,
Mm.
and the price of that product. You get so
Mm-hmm.
these informations is being stored somewhere in a table.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm? So let's
Mm-hmm.
assume that sales of this product are going on, and in the sales table or so, where this information are meant to be entered by the sales agent and others. So what we also do is also to ensure that they don't enter the wrong price and also the wrong quantity. The wrong price for a particular quantity is that we use something we can use a trigger within database. So a
Okay.
trigger is a database object that actually check for an occurrence of an event. So
Mm.
if there is something that goes against the business rule, so we flag
Mm-hmm.
it. So it will prevent either if it's a delete operation or insert operation that request is trying to do, and it's not within the business rule. What it does is that what it flags that operation. It's telling it, okay, this is violating a particular expectation. Also, that so the user will see that in its own interface. Also,
Mm.
another also use also make use of procedure.
Okay,
So
so
in the
sorry.
sense
So
that
are you saying, sorry, please, are you saying even if the software developer that is developing the website or the app makes a mistake by not setting the right constraints, you can, from your hand, trigger it and ensure that that is done? Is that what you're saying?
yeah. So a trigger does that. A trigger prevents if it does not meet the expected business rule logic. So a trigger what will prevent that event from occurring. That
Mm.
operation from either if it's an insert operation or delete operation, whichever
Mm.
form. So yes, it stops that from it. So it's like a trigger is just an object that um, look at event occurrence in the database depending on how you
Mm.
define it. So another thing again is that also use an object to call stored procedure,
Yeah,
which
okay.
which serves the purpose of business rule as well. So
Mm.
within when I work, so in my career as a database developer, so what we do is that we provide this business rule
Mm.
stop procedure to the
Mm.
API developers. So
Mm.
before an API developers make a call to the database, if he's doing like any within his crude operation, let me put it that way, within his crude operation. So the API first of all, before it try to save that record into the database,
Mm.
it calls this SPROC, the stop procedure business rule, and checks. So the stop procedure will first of all go and check what it's trying to pass.
Mm.
So when the API developer gets a success from that stop procedure, it will go ahead and try to save that record into the database. But
Mm.
if the API developer is getting an error, so what it does is that it's that error. It will not send that error to what to the user that something uh, maybe an anomaly that is not supposed to be that this does not meet a particular specified business rule. Also, it just throw up that error that so
Okay,
maybe a particular
when you say
information is
user now, are
missing.
you talking about the developer, the software developer, or the app developer? Or you're
Okay,
talking about the
before
user?
okay, yeah, okay, before we get to uh the user making use of the application, it
Mm,
quality assurance has actually gone into place. A testing has been done
mm,
and find out that uh, every design or model specification is being met, right? So
mm,
in terms now is the user using the application I'm referring to, trying to enter the wrong data or information into the database. So once that user is not able to save that information, save that particular information, you find out. Like for instance, if you find out in your most of web application, you are trying to fill out your information as a user, your details, and a particular field that is being asterisk, it means that what that field is compulsory. And if you try saving, what does it tell you? It says that what all compulsory what field must be what
mm,
must be
mm,
filled. So this is one of the checks that that on the application part is also put in place.
mm.
So that is even outside the database part as well. So I'm just trying to bring more context into it.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I'm getting more clarity now. And anyone here that what we have been talking about, if you are just joining us, is we're talking about, we've been hearing about ChatGPT, we've been hearing about generative AI, how that we can use some particular tools, even on your phone now. There is on your WhatsApp, there is ChatGPT now. There is Meta AI that you can just speak to and can help you. So we are saying, okay, now in the tech space, just to bring more light so that people can understand how these things work, right? So, for example, how does your WhatsApp able to say, okay, you have a contact now, please help me look for so name, and if you just go to your contact and you give you, so Innocent is giving us some insight as to how this thing back end now, right? How this thing speaks to each other using the API and the software developer, and he has also mentioned the quality assurance team and then the API developer, and then how it now comes back to him as a database developer. How he's able to, if for example, sometimes people miss that part. Maybe for example, normally you notice that when you are filling a form, there are for some forms that you can't pass. For example, your email, they will tell you you have to fill this one before you can go ahead. So we are saying there are some times that even that email, for example, some people will, maybe some software developer now will maybe forget to put that constraint. What we call that we call it constraint, like a condition, so that people cannot go ahead without filling in some particular part. So, but we've noticed that over the years, from his experience and from my experience, we noticed that some of these things happen. So, what are the ways we can ameliorate that? And he's saying there are some measures he as a database developer can put in place. For example, using store procedure to send to check, and then using triggers to send a trigger, so that they know that no, this by business rule this cannot fly, if I'm correct, Innocent. So but now
Yeah,
I
that's
want
correct.
you to be particular to my own situation. Now, for example, I'm talking about someone that has done that. The app has been built, the data is already in database, and normally there shouldn't be a null values, right? And then now I want to believe, just keep me honest here, and the data, the team, I think the team that worked on that application has left. So the team I met, we were saying, it is the agent that did not fill in that particular. Good evening, Moses. Yeah, it is the agent that did not fill in that particular feed. Now, someone is there currently on this call that can attest what I'm saying. So I went to some of them and I said, it is the agent that did not fill in that particular field. And this is a particular field that is very important to the business. Now, an agent did not fill it. But to me, from what you have said now, I think it's from the software developer. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It is a software developer that should have created that constraint. So agents are just filling in anything. They won't fill in the form, and then the database looks at that. So what do you have to say? Should we say, okay, it's the agent that is
Okay.
to be blamed, or the software developer that worked on and that did an adversarial job? Or what do you have to say about that?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Michael. So first and foremost, now, So I believe the where the issue comes from is from the design. So the application design, they did not define very well what would be the flow, the process flow in terms of what is required, information that are required from the user. So probably in terms of during the course of this, they allowed that information not to be entered correctly. One, like I said, if it was captured during the in terms of the development of the application or design, that these informations or this particular field or values must be provided by the sales agents. They must provide it. That means one, on the database part, this is what's supposed to be done. Now it means that those particular field or columns should be what? Not null. That means you are not expected to enter a null value into it. That is one. Now that is one of that is what that is like a layer of what of check. Now on the application part as well, the front end developer should be able to also enforce that those fields from his own end, that you must what feed this field before you be able to what, to submit or save. So if these checks are put in place, and what it means that if the front end person should omit it and it sends to the API, the API try to send that.
Please, guys, you can drop your questions if you have questions. Please go ahead, please.
So the API developer try to send that endpoint to the database. So the database is the if the not null constraint is being enforced on that column for that particular table. So the database should be able to what to throw what an error to the API developer that what
Thank you for that.
violation of what not null constraints, and the API should be able to what to inform the front end developer that or this field is required. You need to enforce it from your end. Users are passing null values and all that. So that should have been fixed at the earlier stage. But in this case, it has been omitted from what from the design
From
perspective.
the beginning.
So now the question is that how are we able to address this issue? That means there need to be an update need to be made on what on that application for us to be able to fix. Because if you go implement on the database part, that means it's going to affect the application as part as well. So it's going to be a use issue. So if we are to correct that issue, that means first of all it will be corrected on the application end before we now make the correction on the
Change.
database, and the new build can be deployed.
Thank you so much. I think that's clear. So just to summarize what I just said now. So for some of us that are data enthusiasts, or we are already data analysts, or we build projects. So what he's saying now in summary, by my understanding, is that it's not just about building products. We have to ensure that we build products that work, right? Because if not, we create more problems. For example, if you're a data analyst, it's not about just building the dashboard. Now, how is that dashboard speaking to? Are you pulling the right data? Is your data speaking from the database, and is it speaking well with the database? Are you pulling the right data? Are you synergizing well with the team? We can see now that he just said system design. So when you are saying, so what we can see that a lot of this fang, when I say fang now, I'm talking about Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and the rest, the big guys. So a lot of fund is expended into these projects. What we see, the Meta AI, the Gemini, the ChatGPT, because now everything sits on the database. Everything is dependent on a robust database, and if the information there is not robust, we won't be able to get all those answers. Please help me write the CV, and it will just give us the CV, and it will just bring it up for us. Please, can you help me write this SQL, this query? How do I write a query that selects so and so from this? So what we are saying in essence is that system design is very important. What we are seeing at the front end now is because it's as a result of serious hard work put into system design to ensure that everything speaks. This application, the API developer, and then the database developers speaking to one another, and they are trying to ensure that things work well. I think that's so clear. Thank you so much, Innocent. Yeah, I would just want to ask again. So now I think for all of us that are on this call, I want to believe we now understand what a database is. Do we understand that what a database is? What we've discussed so far before you join is what is a database? Now, how does a database interact with applications, websites? What's the correlation? We see that okay, you can just go online and fill a form, and then you just press in your name, and then to pop up all other information. How is that possible? So he has taken us through that. Now, the next phase of what we're going to be talking about because of our time is now how does this quality database, now we've said some of the ways you can ensure quality is proper system design, right? One of that is proper system design, then collaboration, synergy between all of the teams. There must be synergy between the API and the software developer and then the database. I think before we go to the quality and the impact of AI, I want us to talk about LLMs, right? Can you just, Innocent, can you just bring us about LLM and how it relates to um, database?
Okay. So
Yeah,
for
thank you.
What LLM means, we are looking at is a large language model. Large language
Mm,
model. So
mm,
what do we mean by large language models? So they are being built on uh, uh, a neural network. So what we are
mm,
trying to sense is so we are trying to build
mm,
a model that is able to learn on how human interacts.
mm, mm,
Now, for instance, now all of us will use Gmail, right? So
mhm,
our Gmail, we are trying to okay. LLM for the LLM actually built on text-based about that. So you are using Gmail and you are trying to write a particular statement, and before you know it, Gmail give you a suggestion of that statement.
mm,
So, so within a within a large text-based uh, data, it's been able to it's been built in a way whereby what it's able to learn how human how we to do things. It's able to predict our next line of action. That's why you're on your Gmail you see suggestion. So
mm,
one of looking at now one of the LLM model we use is look at our chat GBT, Meta AI, Bard, we see Copilot and all that. So these are built on large models that are able to what to search very large database and they're able to what to give us a particular information that we are looking for, and it's also uh, interactive in the sense that we could the way it's being built now we could actually make the response interactive between us and this AI bots like ChatGPT, BAT, and Copilot. So LLM is large language models. So
mm,
they are built in a way to be able to understand how we human behave, how be able to predict our in terms of maybe what we want to do, and is able to predict the possible outcome or suggestion of what we want to. So it's built on a very large model, and it depends on data.
mm,
So that means the data is going to use to actually give a near response should be liable. So looking at
mm,
reliability of data. So like according to what Mike has said, what we've been discussing so far. So we're talking about that data must be reliable and the quality of that data. Because
mm,
if that data is not quality, if we don't have that quality in that data, that means what? The response we are getting from this large, large, large language model will not be accurate.
mm,
So it works on a very large volume of data. Like in this our present, you're hearing something about big data. You see,
mm,
So most of these LLM are being fed from big data. You get.
Hmm.
So it goes beyond our normal traditional database because the data that they are using to be able to make their prediction or give you suggestion the models are running on big data, and you can see that you cannot do away with data in terms of LLM. So both of them are dependent on each other.
Mm, 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 mm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So what he's saying, just to for those that are just joining us, welcome everyone. Please, if you have questions, what we're discussing so far is now we've seen that the future, like they say, data is the new oil. The future is dependent on data. Now, and that's why I do tell people that no matter what, even if every other field fades, so long we are evolving and we are evolving into the realm of generative AI and the LLMs, then there is a need for data. And that is why I even set up that's the reason for this session, so that people understand that as we go further, then quality data is a sine qua non, right? Meaning it's very, very important. Will learn the the culture of quality data. When I say learn the culture, so anytime from the sales, even if you are a salesperson, even if you are running a business, for example, if you are running a business, if your sales agents, for example, you are sending people outside every day, if your sales agents are not giving you quality data, then you won't be able to make better decision, correct? Because you will be making decision based on falsehood. I could remember there was a time someone wanted to have an interview with the government, and they asked him, right, that okay, please, what are the use cases of your data analytics skill? So they were asking the guy, what are the use cases of your data analytics skill? And he was telling them, yeah, there are a lot of things. With being a government agency, we can help you track your daily activity. I think it's a government agency that tracks how people, the number of people that paid their tax on a daily and the rest, you know. And he was telling them you can use it to track your tax payments, how many people paid, did they pay, and all that. So, but the person in charge was saying, okay, what if in a case? Yes, I understand, but we know this is Nigeria, and sometimes people can be fraudulent. People can just say, okay, you can send an agent outside and say, okay, and he will tell you when he's back. He has done 10 jobs. He will tell you he has just done 2. How do you curtail that? So he was asking the guy, and the guy was like, okay, one of the ways is to ensure that you maybe you can send someone in sometimes during the week to just check on them unnoticed or unannounced, and so as to ensure that just to check if they are doing the right thing. So these kind of things, if as a business, these are challenges. So quality data is a sine qua non. So even as we are evolving, and I see that there will be a need for more data wranglers. When I say data wranglers, people that can clean data, that can work with data, and then database comes into place, data engineers come into place. These are feeds for the future, and then of course data analysts that will clean data. So and that's why we are discussing this. That as we are going, you see that as we are going forward, I think I was reading again that there was a guy in Nigeria there now that is working on game AI, right? So AI, a gaming platform that is built hinged on AI. A lot of stuff are coming, and these are all hinged on data. So, and that's why I asked that question: that okay, how does LLM now interact with database? And that is what you just had. That he has just showed us that now LLMs as large language models. Well, from the name, large language models. So LLM are also a subset of AI. So AI is like the head, artificial intelligence. Now, AI is like the head. Now, under AI, there is now a part of AI that speaks to natural language, that can interpret, that can write, and that can give you answers using natural language. And that part is what we call LLM, right? Large language model. But that large language model, just as the name suggests, is built on large database. So meaning it's feeding off seriously large database, right? And like you said, you can see that it's built on neural networks. It's not just the traditional database now. We are talking about neural networks, a lot of sophisticated database structures, right? That these LLMs are built on. And this LLM, one of them is the ChatGPT you are using. All right. One of them is the bad. One of them is Gemini, and the rest. So, and that is why that is what Innocent is trying to explain there. Please, you can drop your questions, right? Because of our time, I've just want two more questions now. What is the effect now? What is the impact of quality data, Innocent, on AI? Exactly. So it is not LLM, it is LLM. The last letter there is L M, not L. Thank you, Emmanuel, for engaging. Thank you so much. So what will now be the impact now? We've been talking about how AI interact with how application interact with database and with APIs. What is now the impact of quality data on AI itself? What impact does that have? Just in a few minutes, Innocence, please can you help me?
Okay. Uh, okay. Thank you for that question. Okay. So, the impact of quality data on AI. Now, let's understand. Now, we've looked at a subset of AI, which is called LLM. Now, AI works on models, right? In terms of data, we are looking at building models. So, what does those models do? Those models they help us to be able to give a prediction, forecast, right? So that means those models are being are based on data that we have, right? So if they are shortfall in terms of the quality of those data, that means what? The prediction or forecast we are getting from those models that have been built, what will not be what accurate, will be false. You get it? So uh, the impact of quality data on AI is that if data does not meet the expectation, it means that what? That our models what will give us interpretation of what of our data. So that means we'll not be making informed decision. We'll not be making the accurate decision. So you can see that as a data scientist, a data engineer, database, see that what management will be able to come will have to what question you. Why are we having this? So very important uh, between these interwoven roles that we should be able to ensure that for the data we have that is being disposed to the models to meet all the required quality. In that way, we are ensured that our model decisions are right. And
Hello.
can
I
you
think
hear
your
me?
network. Yeah, I can hear you now. I think your network.
Yeah, I'm saying that I said the last thing I said that that uh, within when we are designing the models that will be feeding our data. So for us to ensure that the prediction that those model or the form those model will be giving us or the insights will get uh, for those insights to be accurate, we have to ensure that for the data on that data is feeding on what is the required quality.
Hmm. I heard
Of
that.
that,
Yeah, I think your line is keeping, but I think I get you. So, you are saying the impact is on what I think you mentioned that quality is a key thing. If there is no quality data, you don't get prediction. And if you notice, for those that are online, right, you notice that even ChatGPT will also tell you, please, you must ensure you also do your own research. Don't just say this is the final. So because sometimes I've used ChatGPT at the point that it was giving me the wrong answer, the wrong answer, right? So it's now left to you, and that is why you see that every now and then they are telling you that we are bringing in more data, clean data, ensuring that they are loading the model with more accurate data. And this is what Innocent is in. So if the quality of the data is not up to par, one of the things you see is that when you type into your ChatGPT, Gemini, and the rest, you will notice that what is happening, you know, and that is why they are even doing more data load so that there is more variability with the answers, a lot of variability. Let me just quickly give us a scenario, right? I did a course on AI, generative AI of recent. Yeah, so, and in that course, I loaded in myself. So I provided the model with my own data. So I just wrote like one pager. Is on Azure. It's on Azure. So you can also, I think, if you go on Google, Microsoft Learn as well, you can also have some idea. But this is a lab that I did, a project, right? I loaded with one pager Word document, just telling about, for example, just talking about Lagos now. For example, the history of Lagos. Then I loaded that data with the history of Lagos on Azure. So I loaded that data. I wrote that data and then loaded it into Azure environment into my data. So then when I loaded, then myself, I was able to type and say, okay, what is the history of Lagos? It's bringing me the same data that I loaded in, and that's how it works. So you can provide your data, but now the data that all this ChatGPT and the rest are providing is at larger scale. Now we're talking about terabyte, petabyte of data. I think currently, as of today, we're talking about petabytes of data that is backing up the ChatGPT we are using today. Petabyte of a lot of data that is backing that up. So I loaded that data, and then I specified there is a place where you can also specify, okay, which kind of message do you want? If I just want, please, message description of Lagos. So anytime when I now type in my what's it called now, my question, tell me about Lagos, based on my description, it will be telling me more of description. Like, okay, Lagos is located in the southwestern region. It is one of the largest. So more of description. So if in my description I wrote past history or something, so it's my description that determines the answer. And that is why they will tell you that if you want to get the best answer from your ChatGPT or some of these tools, try and be as explicit as possible, because the more explicit you are, it will pick the description from your question, and then it's able to give you more accurate answer. But now just imagine that the quality of the data is questionable. What happens? You'll be able to get the best quality, and that's what Innocent is saying there, that data quality, performance, scalability. So when the data is quality, when there is scalability, when you say what is the meaning of scalability? Scalability is the ability of a database to expand. So I started a company that is just I had in mind 10,000 people. Maybe next year I now had 20,000 people. When I was building with 10,000, I should have in mind that this thing might scale to 20,000, 30,000. That is scalability. So if a database is not scalable, then your response time, all right, of your LLMs. Now, when I say LLMs, I'm referring to ChatGPT and the rest. Your response time for LLM will be what? Deterred, right? Your AI, it will be deterred, because you have not built a scalable system for your AI system to work on. So your database, the neural networks and all the LLM, the database that the LLM is built on, must be scalable. So these are some of the things. And how do we implement that as data analysts, as data enthusiasts? How do we ensure that? Because you'll be saying, okay, I think this is high level. Now, how do we ensure that these are very important in our day-to-day? So when we say scalability, for example, from the Excel sheet you are working with, from the Power BI you are working with, from the CSV Google sheet you are working with, we can ensure scalability. Someone is giving you a data, and is giving you a data that should be into rows and columns. So let me give you an example. Someone wrote in column A, name. In row A, cell A1 in Excel now, he wrote name. In cell A2, he wrote school. In cell A3, he wrote maybe the score. Now, and then he wrote that, then the information is now horizontally, filling it horizontally. Now, that's not a scalable data. Do you know why? Now, Excel has a limited number of rows. All right, number of columns rather. So it has a limited number of columns. Just imagine that you are now filling, maybe you thought the name will not be more than 10. Now next year you now got 10,000. Imagine that you are now having to on cell A1, you're having to scroll through from A1 to A100. That's stressful. Even imagine that to query your database and say select star from a particular database, and you are seeing that you are seeing hundreds of columns. How do you feel? What do you think comes to your mind? It's stressful because even as a data scientist, if you're a data scientist, for a data scientist to perform feature engineering on that data, it becomes an issue because it's looking like, okay, how many names do we even have here? So that is scalability. So in that case, what should you do? You should know that, oh, what is the future of my data? Okay, let me do, instead of making that data that way, okay, let me do it in column. So the name, it should now be name, school, and scope. These are scalability. So you have to think from that. And then if you are learning, that's why we are bringing this up. You are learning, you have to learn the right way. Ensure that when you are thinking scalability. How scalable is this? The quality. Ensure that people are not, if you know that this information is going to be important in the future, ensure that it is set as a constraint. When they say constraint, condition, people cannot enter null. So these are some of the things that really determines the future of AI. I think we've spent a lot of time, and I want to believe that we've gained a lot from this session. Please, if you have yourself questions, still type it in. Let's just type in an emoji. Let's know that you are here. Just type in something. Just know that we are here. So on a final note, thank you so much, Innocent. On final, just give us an overview of what do you think, on the topic, the impact of quality data-based system on AI, way forward, what can we do better? What advice do you have for newbies that are coming into the data space? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. So on an overview, we've said it, and we'll still continue to say that the impact of quality data on AI is that data quality cannot be compromised in terms
Mm,
of AI, reliability on data.
mm,
It can be
mm.
compromised. And I'll also give an advice to our future data enthusiasts that try as much
Thank you
as
so much,
possible.
Emmanuel. Mm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Try as much as possible that in regarding your data job, don't
Mm.
shy away from the rudiments. Don't shy away from having that quality.
Please, can you repeat that line? I think your line is breaking now. I really
Okay,
want to that. I think that's a very vital point. I want.
okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
uh,
I
uh,
can hear you now.
word of advice to our future data enthusiasts is that uh, try as much as possible in line with the data journey. Don't shy away from the rudiments in terms of the foundation as regards data workflow and all that. So it will be key for you.
Yeah, his
Uh,
voice is on and off.
yeah, it will be
Ah,
key for you. I think my network is a bit bad. I don't understand what is happening. So it will be key
okay,
for
we'll just.
you because once the foundation is setting, so that means what the building or the blocks are also will be solid. So they should try as much as possible to gain as much knowledge as possible as implement uh, best practice, best standard practice, whatever they are doing. They should make sure
Mm,
whatever you are doing, don't try to look for an easier a shortcut. Let me use the word shortcut. Always
mm.
that in your implementation of any data models or design, all these things, make sure that you follow what the best standard practice.
Best
So that is
practice.
the right for them. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think Faraday said this is very educating. Thank you. Thank you so much for that feedback. Thank you so much, Innocent. Innocent, if you are just joining us, Innocent is a veteran in this database system thing. He is currently a senior developer, database developer with Simfix. He has once he was a former employee with 7 Up Bottling Company, with e-transact, and a whole lot of them. So it's when he speaks, he's speaking from the standpoint of experience and a lot of expertise, right? Thank you so much, everyone. Falade, everyone that has joined. Please don't go yet. This is going to be more like a bi-weekly thing. So and I can trust you. We are still going to have a lot of very great mind people like Innocent and the rest that are going to come in. CTOs of companies will be here. CDOs, Chief Data Officers, Chief Technology Officer. I think the next person is Chief Data Officer of a reputable company in Lagos here. He's going to be talking about, the future of data, current, the present, and all. So it's going to be an interactive session. Just stay tuned. The further information will be out. And if you also have your question, maybe you can't ask now. I think if you check the flyer, you see Innocent name. You can DM him. You can send a DM to him, asking your question, or to myself. I can then forward to him. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Innocent, for joining us. Thank you so much. If there are no questions, okay. I think Faraday is asking a question. What areas are the main focus of a DA in avoiding this problem? What areas are the main focus of a DA? When you say DA, I want to believe you mean data analyst. What areas are the main focus of a DA in avoiding this problem? Innocent, you want to answer that? So what
So
areas are the main focus of a data analyst in avoiding this? So I think what he's trying to say is that what are the areas that a data analyst should focus on to avoid this kind of problem? Maybe to gain mastery on, just like you said. Yeah.
okay, which problem are we looking at in this case? We talked about a lot of things. Is it on in terms of data quality or what?
So I think he's speaking to when he said people should learn fundamentals very well and ensure that they don't just trust. So I want to believe Falade, please keep me honest here. He's trying to say, okay, what are the things data analysts can what are the areas they should focus on? For example, let's say, okay, they should focus on how they interact with stakeholders, or the areas of communicating with stakeholders to ensure that they get the correct and the accurate information. Should they focus on more on software developers and interacting? Just a general, I think, just areas they need to. Yeah, I want to
Okay. In
believe.
general, like what you just said,
Yeah.
so, they should be the first go to in terms of they're able to liaise with the stakeholders, so they should understand the business perspective
Mm,
about uh, in terms of business operations.
mm,
So with that, they should be able to once they're able to have that knowledge about the business. In
mm,
terms of
mm, 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 mm.
also
Domain
uh,
knowledge. Mm,
yeah, technical knowledge. So they should be able to know how to use the required technicals, like we are talking about SQL, Excel,
mm,
Power BI,
mm,
visualization,
mm,
and all that. I
mm,
think very important. You should be able to what communication skill. You can't do
mm,
away with it because
mm, mm,
you see
mm,
yourself interacting with the stakeholders, and also you're also coming back to either the data engineer, telling the data engineer this is data you want. So you should be able to communicate your need. What do you want? What are your needs? Let me put it. What are your needs? Communicate it rightly to the data engineer that will making available those data you need for you to be able to drive your insight and all that. And communication as well, in the sense that you be the one that be able to want to explain your insights to the stakeholders. Okay, this is it. Make them to understand what you've actually developed or built. So communication is very important.
Okay, thank you so much. I think so far, like, just to buttress what you just said now, communication. So what Innocent is trying to tell you is that you have to ensure that you communicate well. So, if, for example, to avoid this problem, when someone comes with, oh, let me build a dashboard, or let me build this particular product, or you work on this project, don't just take it to client and think, okay, let me start working on it. Now, as a data analyst that knows it, okay, what is, because sometimes stakeholders will come to you and say, okay, please, I want a dashboard that is automated, that I can check every day. Now, sometimes that is not their request, in a sense. Sometimes their request could be, okay, I want a dashboard that I can refresh every week, or that I can check every day when they tell you real-time dashboard. So now communication in this sense that, oh, what do you really want? What kind of business question are you trying to answer? So provision your the is or the stakeholders answer to these questions will determine, oh, for example, if stakeholder is saying, I want to ensure that I want to see the sales of my customer, I want to be able to check maybe their demographics. Then as a data analyst, from that communication skill you've exuded, right? You know that, oh, in the database, maybe email, the address of the customer is very important. So you are able to communicate effectively to the software developer that, no, software developer, this must be a vital field. You must not, you must give, you must put a constraint of not null here. You get it now. This field must complete. Then you are able to also, the data scientists will also gain from that, because now when they are doing feature engineering, they know that, oh, they are not going to do a lot of cleaning of data. So you see now, communication, confidence in what you do, knowing the onions, like you said, that don't cut the corners, learn the basics, learn the movement of not just writing SQL code. What are the best practices of writing SQL code? You shouldn't write a code that will run, although it runs. But how long does it take for that query to run? Is it going to take 10 minutes when you can write an efficient code that will run for 2 minutes? These things matter. I even heard that at Netflix, the difference between you and the next employee could be that maybe this person, the former employee, ran his code for 2 minutes, and yours was just 2 minutes 5 seconds. So that time matters, because they are dealing with, imagine how many people per second using Netflix, using Facebook and the rest. So imagine that you have to load. Imagine some website that has to load. That is, and what is happening? The communication between the website and the database is lagging. So these are some of the things you need to learn. Communication, learning the rudiments. I hope that answers your question, Linda. Yeah, on that note, yeah, if that answers, you can just signal in the comment section. Thank you everyone so much. Thank you so much, Innocent. It's a privilege
Thank
to have you here. I'm very, very grateful. We hope to see you some other time. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. Meet us
you.
on the
Bye.
next series. Thank you. Bye.